Andy, good? Brianna? Good, okay. Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call the City of Clovis City Council meeting to order for May 11, 2026 at 6 p.m. At this time, Mayor Pro Tem Pierce will lead us in the flag salute. If you can rise.
Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If our city clerk, Para, would call the roll.
Councilmember Ashbeck. Here. Councilmember Baskell. Here. Councilmember Bessinger.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pierce.
Here.
And Mayor Moanatua.
Here. Okay. Up first will be presentations and proclamations, and we have a presentation by the Buchanan Bird Brains FRC Team 1671. And I think Evan, one of our youth commissioners, is the one doing the presentation. Evan, all good? All right, and the rest of your team as well, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. First of all, thank you all for inviting us here to present tonight. I would like to start out with a full overview of our season and our performance. We are Team 1671, the Buchanan Bird Brains. I'm Peter Sauer. This is Evan Allgood and Ayana Rana. We are all leaders of the Buchanan Bird Brains and also youth commissioners here in Clovis. So during the 2026 season, we went to a total of 4 events. 2 of those, we ended up being quarterfinalists with our robot. And we realized as a team that we wanted to do better and strive for more. So we decided as students to innovate and rebuild our robot 3 separate times to compete at our 2 other events, those being the Northern California District Championship and the World Championship. To even get to these championships, we first had to qualify, and we qualified through our 2 Impact Awards. The Impact Award is the most prestigious award in all of FIRST, and it measures the impact that you've shown throughout your community and the FIRST community overall. We won it regionally at the Silicon Valley State District event, and we won it at the state level here at the Northern California District Championship, which vaulted us to the World Championship to compete for the award and also compete with a robot among the top teams. Along with the Impact Award, one of our members, Hope Persons, also won the first Leadership Award here at the Central Valley District event, which we host at Buchanan for other FIRST robotics teams. Also at this event, we were able to win the Judges Award, which is our team being recognized by the judges. Later on in our season at the World Championship, we won our first ever judged award there in Houston, which was the Spirit Award. Overall, we finished around 400th worldwide. But how did we even get to this level as a team? You know, going to World Championships every few years. We started all the way back in 2004 in a hallway when a student approached our first mentor, the Buchanan physics teacher at the time, and asked if we could start a robotics team. So they started in a hallway and outsourced all of their design and engineering to local engineering companies. Later on in 2010, our team was able to move into the Energy Academy at Buchanan, and this marked a turning point in our team because our students took more part in actually designing and manufacturing the robot, and it was the first year where the robot was fully designed by our students. In 2015, during this time in the Energy Academy, we were actually able to win the first championship among 600 other teams at the event, which opened the door to recognition and financial aid from our school administration with things such as mentor stipends and competition fees. In 2018, we actually situated into our current shop and our school's former auto shop, where all of our students fully design and manufacture all of our robot parts in-house, which is something I actually oversee as shop lead there at Buchanan. So now that we're at such a high level, how do we sustain our team throughout the years with everybody graduating and leaving? So we actually offer 58 coordinator positions this past year, where we had our students step into one-off leadership roles and kind of get a feel for what a leadership position might be like, and actually let them lead events. So because of this early investment in our members, we're actually able to proudly say that almost half of them apply for leadership on our team, and that leadership structure looks exactly like a business with chiefs and leaders fully occupied by students. So our students actually get a whole lot out of our program with job-ready skills such as advanced computer machining, knowledge in business and logistics, and public speaking, among other things. And we also offer opportunities for scholarships in partnership with the Gene Haas Foundation, and we've given out, or they've helped us give out $35,000 to graduating seniors who have gone to prestigious universities like MIT, UCLA, and UC Davis with our program in mind.
Now more on how we impact our community. So First LEGO League, which is the first part of FIRST, which is a robotics organization, stems from elementary school to middle school. So we host a free flight scrimmage. We host this event to lower barriers of entries for teams looking to participate in FIRST and explore STEM and robotics. We partnered with the Clovis Kiwanis Club to make sure that this event is free for all teams. We also host the Battle of the Nest qualifier. This helps increase accessibility to teams looking to participate in FIRST events and also helps them advance to their next championship. We also help mentor teams locally in things such as their robot and their project. For First Tech Challenge, which is the next step of FIRST, which is the next part, it includes middle school and high school. So last summer, we actually kicked off our Summer SOAR FTC conference. This conference helped supported 20 new FTC teams in our area in things such as programming, design, and logistics. We also helped volunteer at events such as the new FTC League Meet, providing volunteers and support. We also helped Clovis West and Alta Sierra intermediate teams in whatever they may need, including supplies and resources, and also helped started teams at Clovis West and Clovis High. So this pipeline of FIRST in elementary and middle school helps ensure that FIRST and robotics stays a strong part of the community, and also that they stay engaged throughout the years to eventually participate in FRC. And I myself am a real-life example of this pipeline because I've actually had the opportunity to attend Buchanan Bird Brains, scrimmage, and qualifiers, and these conferences. So in FRC, which is First Robotics Competition, which is our program in high school, we host the Macton Throwdown over at Madera. This helps a lot of teams practice with their robot in the off-season before the actual competition season arrives. And we also hosted this year, for the first time ever, the Central Valley District event at our own school by advocating to school admins to help host this event at our school. And also we host workshops and impact exchanges with other teams around the world, fostering connections and bonds with things like our outreach, business, and just talks of bonding.
Okay, and next up is our open house. So our open house allows our team to present our team's progress throughout the season. We present to community members, parent supporters, and even council members, which some of you guys actually attended. We have over 300 attendees annually, and actually, our open house was coordinated by one of our finance members and also a new member on our team, which is actually a freshman. So they kind of put together this large-scale open house. And then to increase engagement here, we actually showcase a few of our past seasons' robots and also host a silent auction as a way to kind of help fundraise for our World Championship qualification, which actually last year, our silent auction brought in over $6,000. So it's a huge support to kind of help fundraise. And then our Clovis City Council recognition. So we are extremely grateful for our Clovis City Council, and we do really appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening to present. And I just want to say, like, thank you guys, because It is your generous support that helps robotics be sustained in Clovis. And if it weren't for our Clovis City Council support, robotics in Clovis wouldn't be necessarily what it is. And parents and students actually recognize this support, and this helps increase recruitment on our team and actually helps keep students engaged within the FIRST robotics program. So thank you. And then in addition, your guys' support actually helps because like we're looking for support in facility. Right now, even despite our team's kind of success of our team, we're looking for support in a facility because right now we're building our robots in our Buchanan High School's NPR, and a facility would really help with our robots' efficiency, and it would provide support for other robotics teams, not just in the Buchanan area, but also robotics teams in Clovis. But also connections to local sponsors or businesses to help secure grants or funds would work tremendously, and that support is very generous. Also advocacy within Clovis's schools for a startup in robotics programs or just access to STEM education would really help. So all of your guys' support works for us. So thank you guys so much. Yes.
Any comments or questions from the council? No? Okay. Well done. I just wanted to say, Evan, thank you for reaching out to ask to present. I know that we talked about it when we were sitting together at the competition. I just wanted to say that I think, Matt, you've gone to almost every open house that they have invited us to, and I think our presence there means a lot. And so I've only been to 2. I think Lynn's been to a couple as well. So thank you. I want to thank the parents, Karen, and is it Dimple? Okay. And so thank you both for the work that you do. And I know, Karen, you're volunteering with all the other parents to really help and teach I mean, the team is huge, and to be able to work with all of them, thank you both. And to the school district, Trustee Yolanda Moore is here for your support of this program. And then to the student of all your leadership, I was looking at the flow chart there. I mean, I think whoever is in your position does the invitations, and I think that's important because sometimes it gets so busy that for you to actually email us, ask us to attend, and then invite us to the district competition. And then if you ever go, they take great care of us. They put a student along with us, tell us everything that's going on, sits with us as long as we're there. So they never leave your side, and they explain the entire competition. And then when they leave, they walk you all the way to the exit. And so that's good. No, probably, but yeah. I know that's all. Yeah. But that's just excellent, just leadership. So I just want to say that we want things first rate, and that's what you've built, meaning the school district. It's up to the rest of the community to give you those sites, to work to give you those right sites, to get you everything else. You know, we build everything, and not against athletics, but we build everything superior for athletics. There are all these teams who bring national and here worldwide recognition. You know, let's join together to continue to give you the best, because you're bringing the best here. Because when people are thinking about Central Valley Robotics and the team people are gonna respect and fear, it's this team. And hopefully you will rub off on all the other teams in town as well. And you are already building, I think, Chad, your sons are already on Alta's team, and so how that whole network is so great and so strong. So thank you. Great job to the 3 of you. And then not only that, you're on our youth commission, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
that speaks a lot about the commission
Can I
as
just
well.
say one
So thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Just quickly, so Karen, thank you for not using the photo at 5:30 in the airport the other morning when the entire team, and they were so kind, like, sure, I'll take my picture with who? So anyway, thanks for not using that photo. But to the team, really super impressive. And I want to give a shout out to Karen. You are the mother of a graduate. So if you only equate high school volunteering with high school kids, you would have been 2 years down the road doing something else. So you deserve extra credit for loving it and taking care of the kids, and just kind of keeping that tradition going. So to all of you, to all the parents, none of this is easy for moms and dads and grandmas and all of that. So thank you, but a special shout out to you. I know this is a labor of love with Caroline and now. So anyway, but well done, really great. Really great. Congratulations.
And they're the people who set up for the mayor's breakfast and cleaned up. So it's
Love
all
that.
them.
Very,
So-
very talented kids.
Yeah, so thank you. Come up, let's shake your hands and then, even though we'll shake it again, but. No.
You can see that picture for blackmail. Well done. Nice job, nice presentation.
And Dimple and Karen, did you want to come up, take a photo? Let's get a photo together. Yeah.
Are you gonna change
I know,
your
change your
shirts
polo.
and put on your youth commission shirt? Perfect. Take that one off, the youth commission's underneath.
Come. Okay, thank you. Now we move to administrative items. And this is an annual report update from the Clovis Youth Commission. Staff on this is Brianna Parra, Chan McCollum, and our co-chairs, Avery and Jasmine. Okay, so we lead off with you.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Mayor and council members. I want to take a moment to introduce to you our 2025-2026 Youth Commissioners. But before I do that, a little background for those who may not be familiar with the Youth Commission. The Youth Commission was established in 2023 by the consensus of the City Council to promote civic engagement and empower our Clovis youth to take an active role in shaping our city's future. And in August, the City Council appointed our 21 members to our team consisting of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And if they all can just go ahead and stand up. Yep, they are all representing schools from Buchanan, Clovis High, Clovis West, Clovis East, Clovis Online, and University High. Thank you, guys. You can take a seat. Some of their core responsibilities for the Youth Commission is to meet monthly to accomplish goals outlined by the Youth Commission, City Council, and staff. They also attend and represent city events and activities throughout their term. And before we get started, we have an opportunity to meet and get to know, before they get started, they have an opportunity to meet the City Council and department staff to learn more about the fundamentals of the local government and also to learn about the Brown Act and how to run a meeting, which they do very well. And we have a few leadership roles this year, which include our ex officios, one that was on our GPAC committee, another that was on our Measure Y committee, and then we had a clerk secretary. And at this time, I'm going to ask Allie and Joelle if they don't mind coming up to the podium and to kind of give us a little brief experience on the GPAC and Measure Y.
Hi, I'm Joelle Moore. I had the pleasure of sitting in on the Measure Y oversight meetings as a representative from the Clovis Youth Commission. I would say that I learned a lot during that experience just about the city budget, city expenditures, and I would say overall how members of the city would prefer for their tax dollars to be spent. And I think through learning that, I was able to take what I learned, share it with the Youth Commission, and then we were maybe able to all process what we believed would benefit the youth, like what tax expenditures would benefit the youth in the city. So overall, I would say that this year was a very great learning opportunity, And in the future, I hope for it to become more of a opportunity for us to share our opinions and just our voice in the commission.
Hi, I'm Ellie Hammond. I had the privilege of being chosen to be the GPAC ex officio by my fellow youth commissioners. When I first joined the GPAC, I understood what we did, but I didn't quite understand the impact we had in the community, and I began to quickly grasp that. Throughout it, I learned important lessons. I learned how to help our town grow safely, but we still need growth. Change is scary. Clovis isn't going to look the same in 15 years. And that's a hard thing to accept, but it's important that we know how to do it the right way and to most helpfully benefit our residents. I learned a lot about jobs, who we need to target to bring into our city, how to safely expand it, revenue, how all that stuff works to make our city a city, and how to help it grow correctly. I hope to take these lessons to further help Clovis.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce you to our two co-chairs, Everett and Jasmine, who will take this presentation and dive a little bit more.
Good morning, everyone, or evening. Thank you to the City Council, city staff, commissioners, families, and community members for being here tonight. It has truly been an honor serving on the Clovis City Youth Commission. This year has been filled with learning opportunities, service projects, leadership experiences, and meaningful connections with our community. Through everything we worked on, we not only learned more about local government, but also about responsibility, teamwork, and the importance of serving others. One of the biggest parts of our experience this term was getting the opportunity to tour and learn from different city departments. We visited places like the Recreation Center, Fire Station 1, Transit, and the Police Department, Village Green, and water treatment facilities. Before joining the commission, many of us didn't realize how much work happens behind the scenes to keep Clovis running every single day. We learned how different departments work together to support the community, from public safety to transportation to maintaining clean water and public spaces. These tours helped us gain a greater appreciation for the people who serve the city every day and showed us how much dedication goes into maintaining the quality of life in Clovis.
Another highlight this year has been being featured by ABC 30 in their Children First segment. It was nice to finally talk about the Youth Commission, our goals, what we were trying to achieve all throughout the years from the founding 3 years ago. It was exciting to see the work of the Youth Commission being recognized publicly and to share how youth can actively contribute to local government and community leadership. This experience reminded us that youth people truly make a difference. It's also encouraged us to continue finding ways to get more students involved in their community and helping each other out. Community service project that was really big in the Youth Commission this year was the Threads of Joy. It was a project taken during the Christmas time to collect clothes for kids in need in our community. We partnered with Exceptional Parents Unlimited. Seeing the amount of donations come in, it was incredibly rewarding because it showed us how generous and supportive the Clovis community is. Most importantly, it reminded us that even small acts of kindness go a long way.
Another major project this year was our bike safety initiative during Trail Fest. We worked together to organize and distribute over 300 bike helmets to our local youth. We also spoke with the families about the importance of bike safety and making safe choices when riding. Being able to directly interact with families in the community made the event especially meaningful. Seeing kids excited to receive helmets and knowing we were helping promote safety made all the preparation worth it. In addition to the helmet giveaway, we also worked on an e-bike and e-scooter safety video that aired on social media during the weekend of May 9th through May 10th. Through this project, we help promote safe biking habits and encourage the community to stay active while being responsible on the road and trails. It was exciting to contribute to something that could reach so many people in Clovis, especially younger kids and families. Projects like this helped us understand how public outreach and education can positively influence the community.
Over the past 3 years with Youth Commission, I've realized a lot of things. In the beginning, I was like really nervous to talk because it's such a big deal to be like working directly with you guys. Like, you guys are a big deal. I was nervous to speak up, unsure of how local government actually worked. I was just like there, honestly. I was like, this is my first step. And I got to learn a lot. I got to learn about the systems, what really goes into making Clovis Clovis. I learned communication skills, confidence, and a stronger understanding of leadership and service.
Over the past 2 years, my experience has been equally meaningful. I've learned how much planning, communication, and teamwork goes into every event and project we complete. I've also learned that leadership is not just about being in charge. It's about listening, supporting others, and working hard together towards a common goal. The relationships we've built with one another, with city staff, and with the community members are always something that I'll value and remember.
Beyond our major projects, we also stayed active throughout the year by attending community events including the CUSD board meeting, Christmas tree lighting ceremony, CAYC Youth Summit, MLK breakfast, Fresno Mission Banquet, Rodeo Parade, which is a blast, like it's super duper fun, and Mayor's Breakfast, which we ate yummy food. Each event gave us another opportunity to represent youth voices in Clovis while learning more about organizations and the people who make it strong.
Overall, this experience has shown us that local government is much more than meetings and policies. It's about people working together to serve the community, solve problems, and create opportunities for others. We are grateful for everyone who has supported the Youth Commission this year, our advisors, city staff, families, and fellow commissioners. Thank you for believing in youth leadership and for giving us this opportunity to grow, serve, and make a difference in Clovis.
Thank you, and now I would like to turn it over to Chad, who will recognize me and my fellow seniors.
Thank you, co-chairs. Nothing is more humbling than standing up and trying to be as eloquent as these young people who, they came in with natural talents, but they have grown over their time in the Youth Commission, and they work so hard. You saw the bird brains change their shirts and switch sides of the room. All of these young people are involved in so many things. Even just tonight, the co-chairs were practicing and rehearsing this presentation up until just before the meeting. And that just shows the dedication that they have to their, and how seriously they take their role. So just amazing. And I'm honored to have been a part of this along with Brianna. And we're going to take a moment now to call up the seniors, and we're going to present you with just a recognition of your service to the community. We'll take a moment to take a photo afterward. We'll have some time for parents. I know parents are in the audience here. And we're going to start with those youth commissioners who have joined us most recently, but are still seniors who set aside a big chunk of their time to give back to the community. Will Madeline, Nicole, and Luz please come on up? These youth commissioners all served for 1 year. They joined us as seniors. And when they're interviewed to be a part of this is an application process. They're interviewed. It's very competitive. They are giving up time elsewhere to be dedicated for this cause, and they dedicate time. They know the meetings that they're going to have, and it's just very impressive to do that during their senior year especially. Yeah, stand right there. Perfect. All right, the next group, please. Joelle, Amanat, Jihadi, and Noah, please. Come on up. We have a couple youth commissioners that were unable to attend because they are involved in many things, as we mentioned. So these are youth commissioners that joined us as juniors and gave, as you heard from Joelle, their time in leadership responsibilities. Noah is involved in lots of things as well, including song and dance. I believe he's very talented. He can sing for us later. So just impressive young people. And last, and I'm going to say absolutely not least, are seniors that started out when we began this youth commission 3 years ago. They joined as sophomores, and they were with us every step of the way. You've already met Avarit, come on up, and Grace, join us. They joined us as sophomores. We've seen them grow and learn and give back, and it is a significant amount of time and effort that they've put into this, and they have really built the youth commission that you see today by their efforts and their abilities. So thanks to all of you. Big round of applause for this group. We're going to get a group photo.
I'm gonna hide behind Noah. It's better. It's better that way. Don't move. I nose head. I love it so much. No, that's why I said it. It's good. It's better that way.
While we're doing photos, I just want to give a special thank you to all of those mentors that were involved this year in our Youth Commission. Officer Molly Jacobson, Officer Zach, I can't see too far away here. Pickett, thank you. Corporal Russell Mooring, Police Sergeant Sean O'Brien, Police Service Officer Ty Woods, and Mai Koo with the Recreation Coordinators for Senior Services. All of those made a really big impact on our youth and were helpful during all of our initiatives, and we want to just give a special thank you to them. And a special thank you to Chief Fleming for purchasing all those 300 bike helmets that we were able to give to our community. It meant a lot to us. Thank you.
Any comments or remarks? Oh, you want one more slide? Okay, sorry, you're not done, okay.
Sorry, the most important slide. Now that this term has ended, we are officially opening up our new term for 2026 and 2027. Applications open up as of today and run until June 19th. You can find our applications on our Clovis Youth Commission website, or if you have a camera right here, you can just click on this QR code. Again, it's open to Clovis residents of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, so please encourage your students to apply. We would greatly love to see them and interview them and see where it takes us. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brianna. Comments? Go ahead, Lynn.
Just, I think when the mayor and I had this sort of joint idea and came together, I don't know about you, this is actually more, I might cry, this is more than I ever would have imagined. I think I imagined this was possible, but I think to our staff that supported you and to the quality of each of you and to your families that supported you, I just think this is beyond what I think is an amazing accomplishment in Clovis. I've done a lot of stuff up over the last few years that I've served, but I might have to say this is my most proud moment. I feel like your mother times 15, but it's just, you are remarkable, different visions, different skill sets, but you share such a commitment to where you live. And I just think seeing that in our kids is just, I don't know, it exceeds my wildest dreams. So to all of you that took a chance in the beginning, we weren't sure what we were doing either, to be honest. We were a little nervous, like, well, what do we do now? We've got all these kids. And Vaughn and I both just said, you guys work it out. You figure it out, you build a charter, You sort out how you're going to operate, and you did all of that and more. And again, to Chad and Brianna, who shouldered lots of, if not all of the staff work, thank you, and all of our team that you recognize, which is great. But just really, and you were nervous in the beginning, Everett, but you've gone way past that. You're no longer nervous. And to my friend Grace, who I'm waiting for my slang dictionary so I can learn how to speak to you before you graduate. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, just you are really just such an impressive group of humans. So some days I'm not so sure about the planet and where we're all headed, but you all remind me that we're going to be just fine. So good job. Good job.
Go ahead, Matt.
Again, just a thank you to the great work that you've done and how successful this has become. But one of the things that, I want to really thank Brianna and Chad for all the effort and time and work that you put into this program. But it also got me thinking when you guys were talking up here about leadership, this is actually a great opportunity for us as a city to develop leaders within our own organization, to work with Brianna and to work with Chad, and perhaps, people from other departments that get involved in this as well. So, that take on different aspects of the leadership. I see a lot of people from the police department and stuff that are doing a lot of the day-to-day, whenever there's we get out in the field type of stuff, but the day-to-day work that happens that builds this up. We always talk about building leaders from within. And I think this is a great opportunity because we've seen Brianna and Chad show tremendous leadership and grow dramatically in these last 3 years and being in this position. So just a thought, maybe as we move this thing forward, as it grows, that, we bring people maybe from in our own organizations and help develop them as leaders as well.
Go ahead, Diane.
Thank you so much for your willingness to serve your community, and to the parents who make the sacrifices to get them to the meetings and what are undoubtedly over-scheduled schedules. But that's what it takes, and the ambition that you guys show and the commitment that you show is exactly why you're going to be successful. And kind of to Lynn's point, as far as what maybe was imagined at the beginning, but what you have all created. One of my favorite moments has been sitting in this room at a joint meeting with our school district partners, and we were talking about, there have been a couple different ones, whether it was vaping and the trouble that was for our youth, but more specifically the e-bikes and the safety surrounding e-scooters, e-bikes, and just the difficulty that parents have in even understanding what all of these different things are and the rules and regulations that govern them. And you have an entire room here of adults who are incredibly successful, have impressive resumes, have been in their careers for quite some time, and we're all looking at each other and we're like, who is going to help us figure this out? And it was like, ding, it's our youth commissioners who are going to be able to run with this and bridge that gap between the parents and the students and the administration and staff and the students and the city and the school district and all of these complex things. All of a sudden we realized you guys were the answer, and we were really, really smart in deciding that, because what you guys did with it, again, far surpassed and exceeded what anybody else could have been able to do to bring that education to a very, very important and dangerous issue for our community. And so just, again, that it can't be pride, because I didn't have anything to do with it. We didn't, but the fact that you guys stepped up and the opportunity was provided by this city for you guys to do that is just, yeah, I am super, super excited to see what you guys created out of an opportunity, and it is so much more than I think any of us could have anticipated. So congratulations and thank you, and we look forward to the continued things that you guys are going to do to make this community better and better.
Go ahead, Drew.
I'll be brief. Congratulations for those of you who are seniors and are going to be going out into the workplace or college. You will find, I believe, that the skills that you learned on the Youth Commission, the way that you interacted with the adults in the room, will pay dividends for you, because there are going to be times where somebody says, who's going to do it? And you're going to step forward, and you will be shocked by the amount of people who sit on their hands and are more than happy for you to do the work. But it will pay dividends. Congratulations.
First of all, I just want to thank all the parents. I think you had a hope, and you had, you didn't know where you were sending your children to because it was new, and you but really, you and us trusted them. And they built this to be something that is amazing. I want to thank our staff, Brianna and Chad, and at the time, John Holt, and now Andy, for supporting. Because whatever they asked for, whatever they wanted, you brought it to them. You allow to engage. And like as we said to our staff when they engage young people, sometimes we have to be intentional and stop and actually ask, what do you think? Before they'll say anything, because they're just good kids and they're respectful. And because of that, they're going to let the adults talk. And the adults have to stop and actually go, well, what do you think? What do you want? What do you see? And when we actually do that, we find out, oh, a lot of it is much better than what we were thinking. And that's just amazing. And so I hope that whatever you learn, that you take away that it's truly just relationships. Regardless of whatever title anyone holds, you still have to make the relationship. And that's what you did with the chief, with Andy, with Brianna, when you met us. And because of that, I hope that that relationship, at least for us, is real. And that you also see that it's real. So that way, wherever you need us in life, we're going to look the same because we only get older, but we've grown to where we're going to look. You're going to get more beautiful, more handsome. You're going to still grow. We're not going to recognize you when you come back 4 or 5 years because you're going to be this beautiful, bright person with degrees and knowledge. Say hi to us. Come to us. Whatever we can do to still help. The relationships are real. This home is real for you. The Youth Commission also, I think, allowed for those of us who have had a title or who know people, it seems like it's nothing. But for an average child, the title you hold as youth commissioner, you now can extend your hand and say, I'm a Clovis youth commissioner at any event. And they'll go, what, really? Okay, and tell me more. That's the beauty of it. That's the relationship you make. And it allows average people to meet very unique individuals within this community. That even you thought we were very unique. We're just average, but we started someplace. And for you to start it now as a sophomore and to the two of you who went all 3 years, great job. Keep practicing what you've learned. I really feel that you have blessed us. And I say my last word is, you have climbed a mountain to be the pioneers, the leaders of the Youth Commission. But you don't climb mountains to be seen. You climb mountains to see further. So remember that. You're going to keep climbing, and we push you up there because that's as far as we can go, so that you can see further and tell the next generation, hey, there's another hill up there. We're going to go get it. There's another dream over there. We're going to go get it. And like Lynn said, that it's encouraging to see the next generation ready. I said at the mayor's breakfast, right, I have a genetic defect, so here it is. And so, like Lynn said, she was gonna, but I'm the one. But anyway, it's been a joy being with all of you. And I hope all of you who are juniors apply again. Tell your friends, and then to the seniors, all the best to you wherever life is taking you. So congratulations again. Great job, Brianna and Chad, on our youth commissioners. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we will now move to, that doesn't take public comment, right? Okay, all right. Okay. All right, now we're going to move to consent calendar. We have, oh, see, I already skipped public comment. My apologies. Now we'll go to public comment. If you'd like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda but is within our jurisdiction, you may do so at this time. If you can state your name and give your address for the record, you will have 3 minutes.
Well, good evening, Mayor Moana Tua and Mayor Pro Tem Pierce and members of the council and members of the city administration. My name is Dr. Emer O'Brien. Thank you for letting me speak at your meeting this evening. I feel really blessed that I chose this evening to be here because I got to see, you know, something that really is close to my heart is seeing our kids continue to excel. I just want to compliment you on bringing that vision to fruition. It really turned out to excel everything that we talked about years ago. So I want to let you know that since I retired in 2023, I've been pretty busy. I've been training districts all around California in the Positivity Project, which you probably have heard of, and I've been writing a book. And last year I helped out one of our sister districts by serving as interim superintendent. And about a year ago, I decided to put my name in the hat for the county superintendent of schools. That was a big decision for me because I actually didn't ever see an election in the final chapter of my career. But as I thought about continuing to contribute to our county, I was really moved by the fact that outside of Clovis Unified, actually there are 31 school districts. We have a big literacy problem in our county. We've over half of our kids, closer to 60% and actually closer to 70% in about half of our school districts around the county where students are not reading on grade level. And it's affecting obviously everything else, math and science and even motivation and engagement in school. But this is a particularly exciting time in education because the state of California last October passed with bipartisan support a law called the Golden State Literacy Plan. It's an unprecedented investment in early literacy. And it's going to be a heavy lift for these smaller districts because, I can't see a clock, so I'm feeling, 1 minute. Right, because it involves a lot, and we're going to need strong leadership at the County Office of Education to help our districts, especially, like I said, our smaller districts, actually fully implement this plan, but also not have a spike and drop effect, which happens when grant dollars run out. I want to be able to take the great experience I had here in Clovis Unified, helping to implement systems, sustainable systems, so we have results that last beyond the grant dollars sunsetting in 2029. And so I wanted to give Brianna a few of my brochures. I'd love you to read them and to consider supporting me. I really want to make a difference in our county in terms of education. So thanks again.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Anyone else?
I went to the GPAC meeting last week.
Can you just give your name, sir?
Sorry. I'm Stephen Danny Brown. Nice to see you all. So I went there last week, and I mentioned in the public comments section that I grew up in America, but I've also traveled abroad. Even before I traveled abroad, I started to feel uncomfortable with the way that America builds and the way that we don't have choice, even though this is a capitalist country. And under capitalism, we're told that it allows us to have all kinds of choice of places that we want to be able to live. But with the way that city planning is done, everything is copied and pasted from the previous city, and everything becomes urban sprawl. All the laws that are set up already just steer us in that direction. And when I went to Europe, I found that there were places that seemed appropriate and different on a level that I'd always craved, like town squares that are, lively and filled with businesses. I lived in Prague for 14 months, and Old Town Square is extremely beautiful. Because of Old Town Square and the Charles Bridge, which are what I would call critical masses of beauty, the Czech Republic pulls in $7 billion in revenue every year. That's from external sources, from tourism. And the value of beauty and appropriateness is, I feel, really lost on Americans. And the way that we build buildings, lay out cities is very shy on on design, even though planners like to think of themselves as designing. But it really is left up to the developers. And when I attended this meeting, there was a sort of debate between the two sides. There are a lot of developers on the council, and they want fewer regulations. And there were some people who are not developers, and they were saying, but we gotta, Clovis, it has to be well planned. And it was a sort of debate that didn't have an answer. I think that I may know of an answer, and I don't think it's a very commonly understood thing, but you could develop zoning not by its use, but by its form. It's called form-based ordinance or form-based zoning. You can define the nature of the buildings, how the streets are to be laid out, without necessarily nitpicking over exactly what percentage has to be commercial or residential, etc. So that could be one solution, and in my spare time I happen to write out a series of requirements that could turn a new area into something that looks just like Vinhorady, a bourgeois neighborhood in Prague that is really pleasant to go through. And you guys should all Google Vinhorady. It's basically spelled phonetically with some accent marks. Go on Google Maps, and it's a lovely place to be. It's a residential place, and every block has an internal square where people, you know, the residents can do whatever they want with. The buildings are tall, the density is high, and yet it's just a walkable, lovely place. And you can't really build that in America. And that's because of the laws that lock
Stephen,
it
I'm going to
down.
ask you to summarize.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should come back and talk about it again, or maybe put myself on a agenda perhaps in a couple weeks and talk about form-based zoning. But it also doesn't just require the GPAC to agree to it, but also you guys. So hopefully we can talk, I guess.
And stay engaged with the GPAC, because that's where all the policies will be decided or formed. So please stay engaged, continue to stay engaged in that process.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you for coming, Steve.
Good evening, Eric Rollins. I live on Ashcroft Avenue in Clovis. Been gone for a couple weeks, so it's good to be back. I thought that I was not out active in my community, but just like those young people, some of us are fairly active and engaged with our community. The thing that struck me when I listened to and saw those young people was how very much our freedom is based upon the individual. And I wish they were still here. I wish they'd stay for the whole council meeting, but I understand that they probably have homework. Now, that idea, I think, is reinforced with how we now have In God We Trust here, because whether you're an atheist or you're profoundly religious of any religion, if our rights are granted by God, the state can't take them away. Also, the other thing that was exemplified by those young people was the fact that they're personifying individual liberty. By that I mean, with liberty comes responsibility. Drew mentioned that a lot of people don't want to step up. That is very true, unfortunately. But there are a percentage of us, and about 12% of the populace changed the world when this country was created. That's how many people were actively engaged. So I want to remind everybody, we've got In God We Trust. I also noticed a new document here that is the foundation of our individual liberty, the Constitution. So I want to say thank you to the council for placing both of those things. I want to say thank you to all those young people. I just wish there wasn't an opportunity, that, they'd stayed so they could hear it from me. And I want to say thank you from myself, humbly, that I try to make a difference in my community, and I am blessed to live in Clovis. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Eric.
Good evening. My name is Steve Trevino. I live on Bullard. I wasn't going to say anything, but this young man said something that kind of struck me. You know, my parents came in 1953, 54 to Clovis from Texas. And my father took care of his mother till he died. When he came here, just like many other people, they brought their parents with them and their brother or whatever. My uncle, my father brought his his mother and his brother. His brother wasn't all there. And luckily, one of the people at the Wona Ranch took him in, and they lived there for a few years. And luckily, we bought the house where I live now, and it has 2 houses. And I don't know if it's because of culture, but Hispanics, you know, yesterday was Mother's Day. They take care of their mother. They try to take care of their mother till they die. You know, if their mother doesn't have a place to live, come on, mother, you can stay with us. And the kids, usually they don't leave the house till they get married. You know, and maybe it has to do something with culture. You know, I went to Mexico a couple of years ago, and I noticed, you know, there's about 5 or 6 houses on land because the kids don't move. They just, you know, they build a house, but here in the United States, we don't do that. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Anyone else?
Likewise, I haven't been here in a minute, but I'm Jenny Cran. I live on Bullard Avenue. I'm president of the Clovis Democratic Club, and one of the things that we have tried for a long time to do is to help encourage civic engagement among the youth. And we have had a scholarship for quite a few years, 7, 8 years. And I was so gratified when Lynn and Fong put together the civic, the youth commission, because this is truly a way to get kids involved, to help them to know what civics is all about, starting at the ground level. And I really appreciate all that you have done in this program. This is how we make a difference in our communities. And I also want to thank you. Clovis Fest was great. My grandchildren loved their helmets, and they had a great time at Clovis Fest. And you know,
Was it the
again,
Trail Fest?
Huh?
Was it the Trail Fest?
Trail Fest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, you know, some of the names kind of run together.
Yes.
Clovis Night Out was another one that they enjoyed. And these are the things that they engage the families. They make a difference in the community, and I'm really glad that you focus on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, go ahead and close the public comment portion. We'll move now to consent calendar. On the consent calendar, items on consent are routine in nature and are recommended for approval by the City Council. These items are considered and voted on as a single item unless a council member requests separate consideration of any item. We have items 3 to 7. Anyone like to pull any of the items from the council? Okay. Anyone here in the chambers like to address any of the items 3 to 7? Okay, seeing none, what's the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items 3 through 7.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I make one quick
Yes.
comment. Will and team from EDC, thank you again for your work. And Will, I'm just wondering about in other circles that Will and I seem to travel in a lot the same. A lot of talk about workforce development and how do we train folks to be ready for jobs. I don't know if that would be ever something that the EDC could report by community. It doesn't exactly work, but there might be some way to raise that issue in our report, because you are serving lots of Clovis residents in workforce development. So as a county, if we want to move this idea about having ready workforce, it just is an idea that struck me as I read your report.
Am I good?
Okay.
Absolutely, council member. We'd be happy to prepare a tailored report that summarizes some of the activity from at least our vantage point throughout the county. We have dozens of programs and training pathways that we're responsible for, and work with a myriad of community partners So we'd be happy to prepare that.
Might just be a way to start to connect the dots so people pay attention to the need for and the work that's already happening. So thank you for your work and thank you for your report.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And this is Will Oliver, CEO of the EDC, Fresno EDC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Now we'll move to council items. Item 8 is a discussion of term limits for council members and potential direction to staff. Staff on this is our city clerk, Brianna Parra. Brianna?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So at our April 14th meeting, council directed staff to come back with an item to discuss potential term limits for city council members because of the 2025 National Community Survey. The survey included 79% responses from Clovis residents supporting term limits of either 2-term limits or a 3-term limit. However, the survey did not address when the term limits would be started. According to our government code section 36502, it authorizes cities to impose term limits for council members subject to voter approval at a regularly scheduled election. And as such, term limits are optional and would require voter approval through a ballot measure. If council desires a measure to be placed on the November 2026 ballot, it is recommended council provide direction to staff and the city attorney will begin preparation of these required election material. And there is no fiscal impact to the city council should the council decide not to pursue term limits, or if the council does decide to pursue term limits, according to the Fresno County Register of Voters, it's approximately $35,000, in addition to what we are already paying for our 3 districts that are on the ballot in November. If council wishes to move forward with this proposed ballot measure for term limits, staff is asking for the number of terms, whether limits apply consecutively or in total, at which future election the proposed measure would be submitted. And staff is asking for council to take either no action at this time, or consider a later date for this measure, or to provide direction regarding next steps. So this is an opportunity for council to have this conversation and provide us with direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Brianna. Any questions of staff at this time? Go ahead. No? Oh.
No.
Okay. We can, we'll let the public speak first and then we can discuss. Is that okay? Okay. We'll go ahead and open the public portion now, then the council will deliberate afterwards and give direction.
Good evening, Eric Rollins once again from Ashcroft Avenue. I'm a little torn on this one, but largely I think that now that we have districts, it's a little easier to unseat somebody. We ultimately have term limits in that if we don't like what a particular council member is doing, we can vote them out. And now that it's a smaller effort, it can be more targeted, it would be easier. My concerns about term limits have to do with, for instance, we have this great water treatment facility. How many years of Nathan Magsig's term took to help push that through? I don't know the answer to that, but that wasn't 1 term or 2 terms. I bet Lynn's been here longer than anybody. I bet there's things that you planned on doing that potentially needed long-term. So we can't necessarily, if we have a vision to do something, come up with both the funding, the planning, and the execution in maybe 12 years. And if we are constantly having to change out members, then we lose that momentum. So I did say I was divided on this. Kind of the other side of that to me is, well, if somebody's been there forever, they're kind of entrenched, and we don't get new blood. Just like we saw the Youth Commission where they had a new perspective, that's also useful. But I think that our ability to vote somebody out, and now it will not require nearly as much money or time or effort if we don't like a particular council member, I don't think we go for this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Anyone else like to comment on this?
Me again.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, I really hate to say this. I agree with Eric.
Yes, there is a God.
So
Let the record reflect. Let the record reflect.
running it, running the city is complicated. I've been coming to these meetings long enough to just see, I'm looking at the packets, 700 pages sometimes. It takes a lot of time and effort. The learning curve is fairly significant, and I don't think term limits is necessarily going to help us. Harry Armstrong was in office a tad long, but so somewhere in between, and we have the option of voting somebody out. That is how term limits really do work. And we also we've not had really competitive elections up until this point, and I'm not seeing them I haven't heard of a lot of people that are running, out there planning on running. Usually by now they would really be out there. And so I'm concerned that we're not ready to have the, really competitive term limited elections. I hope at some point it is more so because, fresh ideas is always helpful. But anyway, I think it's premature at this point to do the term limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Okay, so Eric, Jenny, and Bill agree. I see term limits as some way to get somebody you don't like out, rather than I would like to see somebody stay in. Okay, as an example, I tend to like the things that Diane does. So as long as she's keeping me happy, I'm going to be out voting for her and talking people into voting for her. Jenny, on the other hand, tends to like things that Lynn does. So as long as she's keeping Jenny happy, she's going to be out trying to get Lynn reelected. That's the term limits. The minute Diane or Lynn doesn't make us happy, we're going to quit voting for you. There's your term limits right there. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Hello, my name is Steve Trevino. I live in Bullard. You know what I've noticed this term? We're in districts. Nobody's running. And I've been around where people say, you know what? I don't like what they're doing here in the city of Clovis. Well, why don't you run? If you don't like it, run for office. Or come over here, come to the city council, and you can talk to the city council. And, oh, no, I'm not going to, I'm not going to do that, But people like to complain. I think that now that we're in districts, I think it's just, it doesn't really matter if we have term limits or not, so anyways, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, members of the council, Mike Prandini, 2062 Alamos in Clovis. And as Mr. Robbins expressed, I'm torn the same way. That statistically, as I read the report, and as I understand from staff, this is in my mind, a statistically significant response of the surveys that they sent out, and a big majority believe in term limits. But I agree with Mr. Robbins. You got term limits every 4 years when somebody's up for election. And since we're going to district elections, that will make it, I think, easier for people to run for office because they don't have to walk 15,000 doors, households, to get their message out. They only have to, in terms of distribution of the voters in each district, you have a much smaller world to contact and try to get your message across for what you want to do for the city council. Because as it was indicated, Harry Armstrong was around 48 years. That's probably too long, but he achieved a lot over those 48 years. 168 wouldn't be here without Harry's influence and work at the state level to get the state funding. And the issue of term limits is, I don't know, it works in some jurisdictions, but I look at your neighbor, as Harry would say, the neighbor to the west, City of Fresno. Term limits haven't worked real well for them, as far as I'm concerned, because after 8 years, you lose institutional memory. You don't even figure out where the restrooms are for the first 4. So, you know, you're at a disadvantage when you come in and you lose the institutional memory. And then you rely on staff for that institutional memory. Not to criticize staff, but it transfers the power from the council to the staff because they have the information. They already have a lot of information, and they are very influential. But you put term limits into that, and they even have more of the institutional knowledge that the council needs to operate. So I am siding with Mr. Robbins and the other speakers that term limits in this city are not needed, and I recommend you take no action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Mason Magsig. I live on 544 Rawl Avenue. So for me, term limits is somewhat personal. You know, as someone running for Clovis City Council and talking to a lot of different folks, you know, there's a lot of things that I want to do that obviously take time, especially around zoning. And these things aren't, you know, overnight. They don't take years. They take decades. You know, I think what Rollins said about the water plant is a great example. I look at the senior center as well. And when you look at, you know, what makes Clovis different, I think it's, you know, really quality of life. The city that I grew up in, was raised in, the city that I want my future children to be raised in, I want that same quality of life. And I use the senior center as an example because when you look at it, it's a building that's super thoughtful, it's quality, and look at it. People are there 24/7. And again, that took 2 decades to build. So when you have people coming and running for office, you know, rightfully so, they come in with ideas, and they can't accomplish everything in 8 years. So then you have more people come in, and you know, the quality just goes down because there's many ideas and not enough time to you know, implement them. So I think that the idea of term limits and the reason why it was so pushed by the public in the survey is I think when they hear term limits, they think about, you know, the Washington, D.C., maybe Sacramento, and they see a lot of, you know, issues, a lot of corruption that they believe, you know, is there. And this is on both sides of the aisle. A lot of people believe this. But I think that, you know, you guys know more than anyone, there really isn't that, you know, for Clovis. You guys can't be career politicians on the Clovis City Council salary. And I think that's the way it should be. And, you know, Mr. Prandini talking about, you know, neighbors in the West, it hasn't worked for them, term limits. And I would really encourage you guys to vote to not even look at this anymore because I think it's a waste of the city staff's time. But I think if we just kind of sit back with the idea of, you know, I really haven't seen term limits work for cities like ours, kind of in the 100 to 150,000 population. I don't think it really makes sense. I think that the quality of life would significantly decrease. And folks like myself running for office, the youth commission that was here, it's just simply limits the public safety that we'll be able to do in our lifetime, that many of you have had the opportunity to do so, and I can appreciate. So thank you.
Thank you, Mason. Anyone else like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public portion, bring back to sort of a discussion amongst the council. Go ahead, Drew.
Actually, the folks said a lot of the things that I've been thinking. One of the concerns that I have is, what is the district elections going to do to the culture of the council and how we conduct business? Because if you, the downside of districts is you could have a council member that just thinks, what's in it for my district? And whether it affects yours adversely, too bad, it's good for me. It's good for my district, not for the whole of the city. So I'd like to see how districts is going to affect our culture before I'd want to take this bite of the apple on term limits. And I think that this government, this type of government that we have and the size of the city we have I don't think term limits is a good thing for that, because if you look at this council and over the years, we've had doctors, lawyers, people who became judges. We've had chiefs of police on this council for I don't know how long. We have professionals in their field. These are not professional politicians. These are public servants who come to serve the council, come to serve the city, and we're in a unique, I'm not interested in higher office. At 69, I'm good. It is a good primer for those who do want to go to higher office, but it's not required. I think the district elections is going to give us, and I believe two of the speakers talked about it, it is going to be easier for someone to run for city council than it used to be. When I ran the first time, I think I knocked on 2,500 doors, and I had to choose an area where I was going to start, and I remember getting chewed on by somebody who said, the absentee ballots came out last week, where you been? And I said, well, I have to be somewhere. And after he was done yelling at me, he looked at it and he goes, well, I voted for you. I go, do you feel better now that you took a big old bite out of me? And he goes, well, actually, I kind of do. The advantage of districts, it's going to be easier for someone to run a social media campaign and knocking on doors and not have to spend, I think we had somebody spend almost $100,000 in the last race. And if you have not run for a position, the most difficult thing for me, and I think most of us would agree, is asking somebody for money. In my life, I never asked anybody for money that I wasn't planning on paying back, except for maybe my dad. But he was going to get out of me in labor. And it's very difficult for us to run elections citywide without bringing in, because mailing costs a bunch of money. But in a district election with a good pair of shoes, maybe a good 15, 16-year-old kid to run your social media, you could probably run a competitive election and unseat an incumbent. So I just think that term limits is something we need to think about at a later point, not right now. I want to see how districts are gonna cause issues potentially. I don't want to take two bites of that apple.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, I've obviously been, for term limits, as we've talked about it, and I don't think you can discount 79% of the people in a survey who said they are for term limits. So to say that they have feelings about, political offices in the nation and not necessarily the city council, we have to look at that number as being a big number as well. I don't disagree with what everybody said about districts, though, because I do think districts could go either way. And I think a lot of this talk, when I brought up term limits in the beginning, had to do with the fact we were going to districts and how was that going to play out going forward because of the continuity or lack of continuity that could come from having districts within the elections. So I'm not opposed to pushing this to, the 2028 election cycle, seeing how districts play out, looking at that, not necessarily having to do something now or put it on the ballot or saying 8 to 12 years. But I do think it's, when 79% of the population speaks on a survey that we put out, and then 60-something% of those people said 8 years, and 40-something or 30-something%, I believe, said something like 12 years. Those are things to consider. So I agree that we don't know what's going to happen with districts, and like I said, I'm not opposed to seeing this happen maybe after the next election cycle, see how districts play out, and see where we're at that point.
Thank you, Matt. Good. Anyone else?
I think that's right. I think my suggestion is we resurvey it on the next city survey, which is where we asked it this time, yeah? So you have 2 cycles of survey.
We do it every 2 years.
So resurvey it in 2 years, then we'll have a trend. We'll see, is the term limits just a reflection of the general miserable political climate we live in at every level? Possibly. They think all of us should never do this again? Maybe. So I think we should just let that, see what happens to that. So that's what I would say. I think the biggest threat to our community is marginal candidates in non-competitive races, full stop. If you only have one person running in a district, to your point, Eric, it's easier to get elected. It's easier to get elected if you are not great. So that scares me most of all. So that to me is the bigger threat to the quality of our community and our kind of holding together. So I worry most about that. So I'm willing to hold off and resurvey in 2 years and see what the trends are like, and then take another look at it. I don't think we're there today, and I do think districts are going to upset and strengthen some parts that we can't quite see today. I'm not quite sure, but that would be mine. And on behalf of Diane, we're happy to be your bookends. You like her, but you could like us both. I know that's shocking. That's our goal, that you might find something you could agree with both, but I'm just saying that might never happen, but it's just a thought. So.
That's the old
We'll work
election.
on that.
You can vote for, that's the old election when you can vote for 2 or 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of get both, but that's all right. So that's my 2 cents, that we hold off, resurvey, and take another look at it in 2 years.
Yeah. Good, Diane.
So my biggest concern is kind of to Matt's point of, we went out to the community and we asked them for their input on this. And I was trying to remember what the rationale was. I know Matt had brought it forward. It's just as a discussion topic at early on, and we'd kind of kicked it around as maybe was that something we wanted to talk about. But the fact that we went out to the community and asked for them to give us their opinion on this, and it came back so strong. Again, 79% of respondents support establishing term limits. And I understand all of the concerns and share them, to be honest, but I just have a hard time with deciding to go out to the community, asking for their response, seeing it incredibly clearly, and then saying, well, maybe that's not really what they meant. Let's try it again. I mean, not that I don't not understand the rationale behind that, but when the issue at hand is we asked for their response, we got their response, it overwhelmingly tells us what they want, and all we're being asked to do in response to that is give them a chance to express that on a ballot. That's not, I don't think that's too far to go, and that gives time for people to argue their sides. Tell the community, tell the people who are going to vote why you think it's a bad idea, so that maybe they understand, yeah, I haven't really gone to a bunch of council meetings. I'm hearing from people who have a different perspective on what it's like from the inside and all of that. So if the response had not been nearly as high as 79%, even if it had been 50-50, I think there could have been more cause to put it off and see if there's a trend or anything. But I think 79% of respondents is way too high to think that a couple years from now, what is it going to drop 4 points? And now it's trending down, and so it's not a big deal. I just don't see what could happen in a couple years to not go ahead and
I mean, we asked the people for their opinion, they gave it to us. I think it's incumbent upon us to be responsive to that and put it on the November 2026 ballot.
Thank you. When I look at this issue, I think about what you want in your council members. You want someone who understands the items that come before us. So if I don't understand what a GPAC is, or a general plan amendment is, what a variance is, you know, what is considered a CUP, and I'm just looking, or I'm just paying attention to whoever is talking to me, I think that's where the danger is if you don't give council members enough time. I think that I have been very fortunate to have been on the Planning Commission for 10 years. So those issues, those tough issues, you know how to analyze it a lot more. So that learning curve of just knowing how to talk to a bargaining unit, knowing what the budget is, where the money comes from, where it goes. If not, if I come here for 8 years, I'm just driving whatever it is to get me to that next seat because I know I'm out in 8 years. And so it pushes a different person to come into this seat. But here you can get people like what Drew just said. I just want to serve Clovis. That's all I want. I want what's great for Clovis, and I will continue to do what's great for Clovis. And so that's important. The other aspect of having institutional knowledge is the relationships in Clovis are unique. So if CUSD has term limits, I think we'll see a lot of change. But because they don't also, and we can kind of work very well together and go, this is the relationship, this is the history, and we're going to keep that. And same thing with CVMD and their electeds. That part of it we take for granted. But once you start doing it, then the superintendent of Clovis and their boards are going to be like, they don't understand anything about Clovis Unified. They don't understand anything about what we want. But at least with those, with some history here, then it really helps us go, no, this is what we've engaged in. This is the history of what happened. That part of it is important and special because when those two relationships go, no one's coming here. We've seen where school districts suffer. There's no development, no growth, no extra sort of the amenities that we want. And so because of that, we have to look at it broadly and go, what is it? And the last thing I would say is, well, what in the last 114 years have term limits ruined? Like no term limits. What is it? Until you can say that, then we're doing fine. Clovis is doing fine. Because, and I'm not just saying about the other electeds. I'm talking about Rodeo Association folks who know those of us on the council. We're talking about Rotary who knows those of us on the council. Those relationships are important, and that takes longevity to build. That takes coming out. And so I look at term limits, I go, the day we do it, the day Clovis will never be the same. I look at it from the outside, and I go, don't Clovis, don't we ever go down that road. We already went down the district road, and now we're going to go the next step to actually destroy the city. And I said, no. I think the survey, Chad, if we're going to do it again, 2 years, we have to ask more specific because I think I agree with Lynn. It's a perception or understanding of term limits in general and of politics in general, not of Clovis. Because if they look at us, I think a majority would go, no, we're doing it well. Here are the questions, how to, so that they understand that question specific to the city. So that's where I'm at. I'm also a no. So is that enough direction?
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
What was this body that voted to put that on the community survey, what was our intention for doing that, and what did we figure? I mean, is it, because I'll be honest, I was surprised by the response. I didn't think 79% of the people would respond that they supported establishing term limits. I didn't expect that at all. But so what did we figure we were going to do with results from this? Why did we initiate this process to now be like, well, we hear them, but we don't believe them? I guess I'm just a little confused about what we're doing now.
Andy, Brianna, I know we didn't decide what's on the survey. So how did it get on the survey?
Council provided direction to staff to ask the question on a survey. And we provided it was a very basic question. Are you in support of term limits? If so, 8 years, 12 years, or none at all.
But
And
the
that
question was specific to the city council. It wasn't like, do you support term limits in
Correct.
Washington, D.C.? I mean, they knew they were talking about us
It
on
was
this
for
council.
Clovis, yeah. So that was the direction from council and what staff implemented through the national community survey that was done last summer, early fall.
I guess I would just say, my intention was just to take a temperature. Not necessarily, you know, we get opinions on things and we don't always act, we get more information. So mine was just to take a temperature. And the temperature was very clear. We put up this with less. So I'm just saying, we were very clear on why that mattered. I just think given the district factor, I think the question was probably too simple. Like I don't, it's not like, there's no context. So in some ways, that's why I think if there was a trend, it's not like we're discounting it entirely, but I think just putting some context to it and some trend line would be helpful to me. And we'll see the state of the city after maybe they might have a different view after districts. It may be the best we've ever done, or it could be like a disaster. We might go, oh my gosh. So that was my intent, just to take a temperature. So we took the temperature, that's what it said. I want to see what the temperature is in 2 more years than that. So that for me was what my intention. I wasn't intending to act on it necessarily, but I, like you, I was like, what? That's a lot. It's a very high number for sure. So that was my intention.
Matt, could I ask you specifically that question, since you were the one who kind of broached the issue to start with?
Yeah, no, my intention was to see where people thought about term limits, because I believed in term limits. I mean, I still believe in term limits. I think it's, there's things that are said that are accurate on both sides, right? I mean, the continuity of people who know how the city works and you can have those conversations with, you know, staff members and stuff is a big deal. But at the same time, I also believe that people should have the opportunity to serve their government or be part of the government, whether that's 8 years down the road or 12 years down the road. So that was my intentions behind term limits. I really, you know, do I still believe that we should have term limits? Yeah, I do. But I understand districts. I understand that when we go to districts, it could be a completely different scenario altogether. So, you know, that's why I'm saying I'm not opposed to waiting 2 years to the next election cycle. And I also think it'd be hard to get it on the ballot right now and try and force it through and that kind of stuff being this late in the process. I mean, we're talking about a month from now, actually, a month and a half, I guess, to try and put it on there. So, and I do agree with you. I think 79% is a lot of people who are saying, yeah, we think there should be term limits because people maybe stay too long in a position. You know, I'm not opposed to saying that it's 12 years, right? You do 3 terms because I think we all agree if you're new to the process, you know, learning the first 3 and 4 years of the cycles and how things work and how to get things, you know, put through is a real issue. But then again, I think, you know, maybe 16, 20, 24 years, not counting you, Lynn, I'm sorry. You've been amazing. You know, I just think as we get into districts, you know, and I think I maybe think of other towns where people have been in positions and you think, man, they just keep getting reelected when they shouldn't be reelected because it's just kind of the way it is. People they don't know the difference or they don't understand all the process. So, yeah, so I don't know if I completely answered your question, but I do believe in term limits. I do think that it's something we should consider for the future. And if that's 12 years, then to start with, I'm okay with that as a process. That's still a long time. I mean, that's 3 terms, but that's 12 years of continuity within something, within a seat.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Mr. Rollinger, I think it was you who said some of these things take such a long time. The Research and Technology Park, the ground was broken the day I was elected in 2001, and it's still not done. That's 25 years ago. That was a Harry Armstrong project. So it sort of surpasses all kinds of, that's probably too long, but you know, they think your point is right. Some of this stuff does take such a long time. Do you need a motion on this? What do you want?
Any direction? Diane, did you have some more to say?
I just wanted to kind of follow up. I think where I am, just because of the results of the survey, is that I think the conversation about the number of terms is reasonable. And again, I think that the fact that there would be, I'll call it a campaign process leading up to it being on the ballot, is the opportunity to really kind of have the conversation and see if, I mean, the 79% of people, did they not understand? Did they, were they thinking about something else? So personally, I would favor putting it on the November 26th ballot. I think that's what the people have clearly asked us for. And, I would be fine with 3 terms because, again, I do agree that some time is necessary to kind of get your footing and all of that. And I think that's, at least being responsive to what we asked the people and what they responded with.
Just
Is that
for
a
my
motion?
own,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was
Go ahead,
asking
Matt.
if that was a motion.
I don't know, is that a motion or?
I will go ahead and make it, well, unless there's additional discussion.
I just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
When you do a campaign like this, who is the campaigner? Is the city the advocate? Do you have to have a citizens campaign? Do you raise money?
No, the city cannot advocate for
So
anything.
we need a citizens group to raise some money?
Citizens always
or-
have the right to do their own initiative. If
But
there's
in this
overwhelming
case,
support,
we don't have, if we don't have a group that's cheering this on, who would do this? No one?
whoever wanted to be the yes on term limits
Okay.
campaign. Now, as you have done with the tax measure, most recently, that's a council-approved measure to go on the ballot.
And then people do
But
what
it's
they
not,
will.
the city can't spend resources or
right,
money
right.
advocating one way or the other on that. Same with such a measure here. The citizens have the right to put their own measure on if they wanted to. If there's overwhelming support, they could do their own. The council has the ability also to place a measure on the ballot.
I see.
But if you place a measure on the ballot,
That's the end of it.
that's the city's involvement.
Yeah, okay.
To place the measure on the ballot, let the voters decide, but you couldn't spend city resources, advocating for it one way or the other, up or down.
I see. That's what I thought. Thank you.
And just, I think Brianna mentioned it in her staff report, but I do think it's important to note, the survey did not ask specifically which year there was a desire for any of that. So it was a simple question, as I recall, would you support term limits for the Clovis City Council? It didn't say, would you support them this year, 5 years from now, after districts? So just so you all know, it was just kind of a general question about term limits, so. And it also didn't ask, would you support a citizen initiative-led measure or a council measure? So again, there's 2 processes out there.
To add to that, this was not like a poll for an election. It was a simple community survey. It wasn't done by a professional political consultant that would do that work. I know there's a motion on the floor,
Here.
so I'll turn it back. I do have a comment, depending on how that goes.
Scott, are we able to make motions, or is it just consensus direction to go?
I mean, you
to
could
give
do it
to
either way.
staff?
We just need
Okay.
consensus one way or the other, how the council wants to go. So whether it's by consensus or a formal motion to direct us to bring a measure back to the council for consideration, or any other action that might be in the motion, that's fine. We just need to know which way the
So
council wants to go.
there is a motion. Do we have a second?
Well, I wanted to make a specific motion. Could we go back one slide with the 3 questions that you wanted? It had like number of terms, yeah, that, okay. So I will make a motion to place on the November 2026 ballot a measure for term limits of 3 consecutive terms of 4 years each for service on the Clovis City Council. Does that answer the questions and make sense?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'm going to second it because I had been an advocate for this. The 79% number is a big number to me. I understand the
Yeah.
waiting to see the districts, but 12 years is a long time, so I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Andy, did you have anything to add prior to the, because you were going to speak?
Not on this motion. If
Okay.
there's further direction, I have some
Okay.
clarity.
Any further discussion?
I guess, should it pass, then where do the decisions about 3 terms starting today? So I get to serve 3 more terms? I'll be dead by then, but like that?
And
Or where do you work out all those details?
Yeah, it's worked out in the law already. Any term limit measure, if approved by the voters, applies prospectively only. So as an example,
Upon the
if you were to place it on the 2026 ballot, and it is approved, any council members elected in 2026, it would not apply starting that term.
The next election?
It would start
Complete.
basically, in essence, 2028 and going forward.
I see, okay. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we have a motion, and second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
No.
Okay, so do we still need more direction?
Well, I just
Brianna?
want to clear, was it
It
2
was-
to
It was
3?
2 to 3.
So the motion
Motion
fails?
fails.
Okay. And the two voting in favor were Diane and Matt, correct? Just for the record, thank you.
Okay.
Do you need a reverse motion?
We
or are
don't need a
good with
motion.
that?
Do you have enough direction, Brianna? or-
I'm just looking for
Yeah, I think we have
consensus.
enough direction.
If we can have any consensus on future polling or work on that, I'm not sure if a poll is going to get to the nuance that was discussed by council, but if there's a desire or consensus of council to do that work in 2 years or in some time frame, we'd appreciate it to make sure we hit that target.
Yeah. Any other direction you'd like to give to staff from the council?
I think we need a better question. I think we don't need a generic, how do you feel about the weather? I think it needs to be more specific. So I do think we should resurvey at some point. If there's, I guess I would love to see some, like, people in the room cheering this on, because I don't know, easy to mark a survey, but it'd be great if there was advocates that came before it. But I think we should resurvey it in 2 years with a slightly refined question.
Yeah, we can try to refine the question, but the polling tool does limit us on how nuanced we can get.
Yeah, but I mean, it's to the extent it can.
And Mayor,
Yes.
additionally, we need to find a way to get a larger group of people, hopefully, to respond. This is 333 people. Granted, the percentage is high, but it's 333 people. And no one showed up here to state their opinion in support of that. So,
Yeah, and potentially we'll
But I
roll.
do think that's a short number, but we were voting to see if we put it on a ballot for people to make a decision.
Mhm. And also, we can roll out some more Meet the Mayors and have more of these discussions as well. Yeah. Okay.
We have.
Okay. You're good, Brianna? Are you clear on what we have been
so just-
discussing?
just
We're
to
debating over
clarify-
here. There's been no direction tonight from 3 of you to bring it back at any point for surveying. What I've heard is there's a desire by a majority of you to bring an item back at a future date to discuss whether we're going to survey again,
No,
correct?
I think I think the direction was to do survey. Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard that we would come, next time we do the survey, refine the question. Those will be part of those results that year, and council can then make decisions on that.
Yeah.
On whether and how you want the question raised or phrased for survey, correct? You're not directing us tonight to include the same question or any question on a future survey. You haven't given us direction on exactly what question you want surveyed in 2 years.
I think when that question comes up, please ask direction from us. Like, here are the questions we potentially have. Any additions? I don't know. That doesn't need to be a council meeting. You can just email us, right?
Well,
No,
I don't
okay,
want to
if
get,
it
I don't want to
you-
get five
because-
separate directions in 5 separate emails. So at some point,
Yeah.
we will bring it back if that's the desire of council.
But the first time it wasn't brought here for that language.
The actual survey question, correct? you
Yeah,
weren't.
so
Yeah.
we're just saying, build better survey questions and get our input. But if that has to be formally done, then okay, I mean, I'm fine, but before we didn't. So I'm just trying to understand, you can kind of work this out, Andy, this is why we pay you.
So staff will work on it,
Yeah,
and if we need direction from council to make sure council is on board with that, we'll come back.
yeah, okay.
And that survey would be issued in, usually it's September of 2028 is the next planned survey.
Okay. Thank you. All right, item 9. So this is also another provide direction for the Stanford Edition Bullard Couplet improvements. And staff on this is Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Back in February, City Council provided direction to bring an item to council to discuss improvements to the Bullard Couplet area in the Stanford Edition. That's a pocket park in that neighborhood. I just want to show where it's at here. So this is just at 5th and Sunnyside Avenues. And it was constructed when 5th Street and Bullard were realigned to make way for better connection to Old Town from development that was occurring to the east. So it's highlighted in red there. A little bit of notes of history. So I enjoyed digging in on the Stanford Edition. I've done work in the Stanford Edition through my housing rehabilitation days for a number of years, gotten to know a number of the families. But we have found that it was the first subdivision in the city. It was recorded June 12th, 1912, and there is a copy of that map. Yeah. So there's some rich history in that area. It's also been home to many that supported the founding industries of our community. We've heard about that, and that includes agriculture, the lumber mill. When I was rehabbing houses out there, we would often find scraps from the lumber mill that was holding up some of the homes. We were going in to fix those. So it's a significant neighborhood that has produced incredible families and residents of our community. The Flores family, the Perkins family, there's many others. But just a bit of background. So, and I mentioned the park was created with the realignment of 5th Street at Bullard Avenue. So we sat down with Mr. Trevino, who brought this to council, and asked for some input on what we could do to improve the area. And this is the actual area. So one of the things we wanted to do is it could use a little bit of love and sprucing up, and through Measure Y, we've been able to allocate additional funding to park space. So we have some funding to do that. We'd like to add a new layer of decomposed granite, bark as appropriate, and maybe some additional plantings if available. We'd like to add an interpretive signboard to detail the history of the Stanford edition. And that hasn't been developed yet. We'd like to highlight that it was the first tract in our city, talk about some of the original families, some of the significance of the community to Clovis, and work on that maybe with the Historical Society and residents. And then we would want to remove concrete borders as needed. And one thing that we for sure want to do, there's a plaque there that is honoring Police Explorer Badner, who served the city of Clovis. I've got a picture of it here. And we'd like to clean that up and make sure it's preserved well. Kevin Badner passed away at a young age, and he was honored there, I believe, by his family with the bench and the plaque. So with that, we'd like any direction from council on thoughts for the improvements that we'd like to make to this area, and answer any questions you may have.
Would you like to discuss now? Open it up first? Okay, let's open up the public portion first, and then we can discuss after that with your input.
Eric Rollins, Ashcroft Avenue. Just one thought on this one. I work and own a business relatively close. I could walk there in just a couple minutes. We talked about, having a historic district. If there was some sort of map that maybe like a walking map so that people could tour historic homes, that might be kind of a neat start point for something like that. So just a thought. Aside from that, I don't really have much else to say, but thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Hello, my name is Stephen Trevino. I live on Bullard. And of course, I've spoken about this many times. But I spoke to city manager. And after I spoke to him, I was kind of disappointed because this neighborhood is historical. It's historical, and I grew up in this neighborhood. And just a while ago, I was walking over here, and you go down Sunnyside, and I was in the flume, the lumber flume. It came down Toll House Road, and it came down right here where the police station is at, and then it went right through where Clark is at, and then it went right all the way into where the rodeo grounds are, and it's a very historical, it's I mean, right here, behind you guys, there's that thing for the lumber, it's historical, and throughout my life, I never thought about that, I thought about other things. I know that the lumber trucks used to come through there on Toll House. When I was a kid, I used to hear them put the jake brakes on, and it was a part of our lives, when I was a kid, because all those lumber trucks used to end up at Maple and Olive, I guess, on that area. You can still see, for a long time, there used to be piles of lumber there. But anyways, to me, this is very historical, and I think I'm kind of disappointed that I've always thought about the people that I grew up with, the farm workers, and I know that I didn't know everyone that lives in my neighborhood, but it's now that he brought this up, you told me about that. It just it's historical, and so I don't know what else to say. It's just when he told me that, I was like, whoa, but anyways. I don't know what else to say, but anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino.
Can I ask him a question? Mr. Trevino, were you looking for more history, more what?
You know, pretty much. I mean, he did stuff. That map right there, that tells you everything you need to know. You know, that according to the city manager, a lot of the people who lived there, when they opened up that sawmill, those people lived. The people who worked at the sawmill, they lived in that neighborhood. See, and that's why they built that, because it was the very first track, because it was associated with the sawmill. See, and so you know, what year was that?
1912.
18.
Oh, the map here?
Yeah, that map right there.
1912.
Yeah. So a lot of those people that lived there beforehand, you know, they worked at the sawmill. You know?
Yeah, okay.
And so, yeah, it's very historical. I never saw any, you know, anything associated with a sawmill. But the only thing I remember where Tom's Market was, catty corner from there, there was a sawmill there.
Yeah, no,
And-
that's right.
Yeah, and what exactly they were doing there, but that's the only sawmill I ever saw
Okay.
in that neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, so.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public portion, bring it back to the council. What are some thoughts, ideas, direction? Okay, Drew?
I think Lynn's light was on first.
Well, so thank you, Mr. Trevino, for bringing this forward. I think about Helm Ranch. Helm Ranch has a logo, like it has a look. So I wonder if we could, if there could be some historical things we could carry through in a mark, in a logo, in a lumber mill, something or other, I don't know. Maybe in street signs. Loma Vista has different street signs. It doesn't have our little person on it, our little horse. So I mean, there might be a little bit more we could do in the history space. So I guess I would say that maybe there needs to be a light fixture or something that looks more like an old-fashioned park. But the only thing I would say is I think it's not a park. There's nothing about this that says sit down here and enjoy yourself. So I just think if there's a way to make it a little warmer, but I don't know if I want to sit there when people are going 45 miles an hour down Bullard and making that turn. So it doesn't invite me to sit. That's my only thought about that. So maybe there's a small fence. I'm not sure, but that'd be the only thing I would say. It's not really a park. It's I don't even know what a couplet actually is by definition, but whatever that is. So I think a little more history would be kind of interesting, and maybe a way to make it either invite you to stay or invite you to keep walking. But I don't think there's nothing, this is sort of somewhere in the middle of that. But I think we could honor some of the families that you talk about. You've talked about Mr. Perkins a lot. Be ways we could get that in here. So maybe just a tad more history so that it matches Helm Ranch, and it matches the Loma Vista mark, and it matches the Heritage Grove mark, and the lumber, what's it called? Landmark Square. Like there's those themes. So maybe something like that a little farther down that path. That's what I would say.
Go ahead, Drew.
I agree with Lynn. When I first saw the Stanford edition map, that was interesting because this is the first time I've seen something. I've heard Stanford edition called Stanford edition. A lot of the people who lived there did not call it Stanford edition, but the names of the settlers, to kind of jump on to what Lynn was talking about, you had the Floreses, the Riveras, the Reetzes, you had the Perkins, you had folks that came out during the Depression and after the war, after World War II, who came out in caravans, and they settled in that area. They, when it was time to, I think to Andy's point, when it was time to build the addition to your house, your father went out and basically put something in the ground. It's going to be over here. We're going to put some stuff over here, and we're going to go grab some scrap wood, and we're going to make this happen. And I think giving this some trademark signage, celebration, talk about the heritage. There are a couple of properties in there that would probably be, at least one of them would be an excellent park location where we could put up things about how this area was where workers came, where they raised their families, where they celebrated their cultures, where they raised their children and their grandchildren and their grandchildren's children. So I think we could take this, and obviously future parks inside there are a discussion for another day, but we do this right, we give it a little bit of flavor, and we build on it. But I agree with all of this. I would like to see that, that signage put up in this park, because I think that is a really nice graphic, and we could build on it.
Well, I just was, one more, I'm thinking Stanford addition to what? What was it added to, like Stanford addition to Clovis? Stanford addition to Stanford?
To the town of Clovis.
Let me say, is that what it means? We added these, I mean, I don't even know what the sentence means. Stanford addition of what? So I think there's a great story there if we can figure it out. Maybe Mr. Trevino can help us. The Historical Society probably has all those papers to help. So anyway, I love that.
Go ahead, Matt.
Now, can you go back a slide? Did we have some names and stuff on there?
Yeah.
So there was talking about contributors, Flores family, Perkins family. Okay. Is there other families that we would bring in there, I guess?
Yeah, the staff intent was to create a signboard telling the history, just as council is describing, great ideas, that we could come and install that on the site to provide history of the area and honor the families that really trailblazed in that area.
And I think going back to your point on the not looking like a park, it's because cars run up into the people's yards right there. So that's why you ended up with the boulders.
The boulders across
the boulders and stuff that were put out there was to prevent traffic accidents.
Didn't Dean Menard put this together 20 years ago?
Somebody did a long time ago. I
Yeah,
don't know who. But
maybe
it was-
25.
It was put together because there was so much vehicular traffic that was going up into those people's front yards that they ended up putting those boulders and stuff there. So that's why there's this many trees and stuff in there. It's not necessarily a park.
And it's not a good place to have a park.
It's probably not the best place, no. But to put historical information and whatnot in there.
Andy, you were going to say something? Okay. Yeah. My thoughts are, it needs a flag pole. It needs light. We need to honor at minimum 3 families. The Antonio, who was a mayor, John Antonio. His son is Franklin, who is Qualcomm. So he was a mayor from there. So was Jose Flores, his family, and then Mr. Perkins. That's the minimum. And then keep the officer. And then I think we need to recognize the entire place, whether it's sidewalk around it or light posts that makes it where it's different. This area, you know, it gets certain light posts. I know everything's cost, but if we're going to honor the addition, let's just not do it in this park area if we can. But if not, let's start in the park area and really make it where this is historic. There are families here. There are something special about this place. And so the sidewalk has to encompass this area. The street lights has to encompass this area. And this part, then we recognize the family. One plaque putting all the families that we know, and then the other one's going, Mr. Perkins, the first African-American employee in the city of Clovis. You know, John Antonio, who was a mayor. Jose Flores, and there was the first sort of Latino mayors in this great city. And so those are, I think, worth celebrating in this area because they produce people that stayed here, lived here, grew up here. And so that's my thing. Make it a destination, not a park like you said, but something where we can just kind of go, oh, why does it have those lights? Why does it have sidewalk that is different, you know? So.
Well, and I think if you know, I mean, I don't know, there must be a map somewhere, but like if somewhere in this area was the flume end or, you know, I mean, if you could mark those things, even sort of like the trail tells the story as you go down the trail, some of it, I mean, that's interesting for people to know that the flume, if you never, like it was real, it was a thing. It was how we made our living in this community. So I don't know if there's those kinds of historical markers you could add to that. Yeah. You could tell an interesting story in this neighborhood. So.
Any other comments, suggestions? Okay. Does that give you enough?
Yeah, we'll work on refining it, and if we needed resources, if we need resources, we'll have to bring that back. But
we gotcha.
Okay.
but the Antonio family can fund it, right? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the input. Now we're going to move to city manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor.
Andy.
The Planning Commission has 2 meetings this month. The first one is Thursday, May 14th, and the second one is May 28th. So just want to make everyone aware of that.
Why is that special?
We added a special meeting for the infill rezone program that could have significant conversation.
Do they only once a month now?
Yes, yeah. And then sign up for our Memorial Run. It's on Saturday, May 23rd. So come on out, enjoy that. And it does fill up. So get your name's in the hat. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor.
Okay. We will now move to council comments. Councilor Basco.
I don't have anything. I already signed up for the run. The only thing I would say is happy anniversary to my wife, 35 years today.
And you're sitting right here?
I'm sitting here.
Oh, let's call it.
They have
We
dinner
did a lot over the
they have
weekend. We're good.
reservations at 10, so they're good.
Happy
Okay.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary. Okay. Councilmember Bessinger.
Speaking of anniversaries, my wife and I are approaching our 26th on the 13th of May. So thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot, Matt. I would have gotten in trouble.
It happens.
Yeah, I know. That's all I have.
But thanks to Amazon, you could order something right now. It'll be here tomorrow. You'll look like a genius.
Okay.
Call Cody. She'll have
Councilmember Ashbeck.
I just want to give a shout out to Clovis PD. Clovis PD, where'd they go? Someone was here from Clovis PD. On the recent enforcement on e-bikes in Loma Vista Park. That was super, really important. And I have so little faith in the Nextdoor app, but everybody that responded to the post from the PD was so positive. So that was, I mean, it was very encouraging. It's about time. So anyway, just a special shout out to them. And I did send Andy a picture. There's a park sign there that says you can't smoke. And what's the other thing you can't do? Alcohol?
Yeah,
And it cites our municipal code. So I just wonder if we move to a place, I don't know if we need a municipal code provision that says you can't ride e-bikes in parks or whatever we decide, but I think we need some signs about that as well. So just a thought on that, but it has been much better as a daily walker in the Loma Vista Park that there are not as many kids. There is, however, just as much trash. So thanks to Public Utilities for the trash can at the fire station. I was so excited. So that was super great. So anyway, but just a hats off to the Clovis PD for that enforcement action. I think that's great. What else did I write down? I don't know. What is that? I can't remember. Good work on the cleanup. I don't know what that means. Oh, I know. Good work on that. What was the house she brought the lien on? What street was that?
Swift Avenue.
Nice job on the cleanup on the Swift Avenue house. It still looks terrible, but it looks way less terrible. The neighbors must be thrilled.
It's an investor special, but it's much better now.
It's a fixer-upper at the minimum. But anyway, good job on that. And then I also just would say I went to the Old Town Flea Market this weekend, and it was super great. Super great. So good job. I don't even really know who's in charge of that exactly. It's not Boo. Who is that? Who is the Old Town Flea Market?
The group that owns the Foundry puts it on.
Okay, so it's a private venture. Anyway, it was super fun and a great crowd, and it was really a great kind of Clovis experience. So anyway, that's all I got.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Pierce.
All right, well, I will give a shout out to the Mayor's Breakfast. Thank you to the Clovis Community Foundation for putting that on. And as we heard from the Bird Brains, they volunteered to help set up and everything. And lots of other volunteers contributed to a really fantastic event. And of course, Mayor, well done on the state of the city being strong, but more importantly, what it takes to keep it that way. And so just a really great morning. I always enjoy seeing the community come together and the people who come out to support Clovis and what we are about and that. So it's always a little early, but it is a great morning. And so thank you to everyone who supported that, came out, and again to staff who always work overtime pulling that together. Everything went so well, the presentations, the videos, all of that Chad, I know your team puts a lot of effort into, and I'm sure the mayor had a lot to do with directing all of that as well, but always a really great day to celebrate Clovis. So everyone, and particularly the mayor, well done. And that's all.
Thank you. think, Drew, you and I were at the Salute the Patriots, and so our Memorial District does an excellent job of recognizing those who signed up for the armed services, and I think Clovis Unified is heavily involved with that. And then Andy and I were at the Fresno State of the City, and so I had a good time there.
Me too.
Oh, see? Oh, see, everyone was there, see, except for Drew. No. No, so good to see us participating in both places. A couple ribbon cuttings. I think, Drew, you and I went to the Chandler Law one. That building there, office, is just beautiful. So if you have a chance, please walk by there, right across from Fire Station 1. Is that 1? Yeah, so right across from Fire Station.
I believe it's ones.
Yeah, 1. So the house that is just elevated, like the house is just elevated right across from the fire station. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Oh, he did such a great job. It's a beautiful, beautiful, yeah. So went to a premiere of ICU to Iron Man, and so that's Nick Amp. I think it's Amperano is his last name, coach of at Clovis High Soccer. But Nick is a gentleman who graduated Clovis High. It was running in the Two Cities Marathon, and that night had to go to ICU because he didn't know he was type 1 diabetic. When he finally was stable, he got up and said he's going to become an Ironman and didn't care about the medical stuff. So it's his documentary. It premiered at Maya Cinemas. A young local Clovis gentleman, young man, and he says, I'm going to get Clovis on the map. I'm going to inspire those with type 1 diabetes that they can do this. And he ran and became an Ironman. And so it was just very inspirational. I think just to see young people and all his team from Clovis High, and they were just filming, and he never swam before, had to learn how to swim. But he just came back and did that, so he finished it. Chad had a open house or kind of walkthrough for Pinnacle Business, the one right next to Honda North. That's going to be a beautiful building right across now from the heart. That whole corridor on Herndon is just coming along so well. So thank you, Chad, for setting that up with Dr. Sandhu and sort of what his plans are there. And then I was surprised to learn we went right there to a young Hmong boy who lives in San Jose, came and bought a franchise poke house and opened it up at, ours is the Avenue. Yeah, so on the side of the Avenue. So young guy grew up here, went to school here, got his money in San Jose, and came back and starting a business there. And then just congratulations to all the mothers, Mother's Day yesterday. And so thank you, you too as well, mothers, and to all our staff and mothers. And let's get ready for graduations. And lastly, my recommendation, whoever's going to be mayor next, keep pushing for the mayor's lunch. Mayor's lunch. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. We will now move to closed session. We have 2 items. One is conference with legal counsel of existing litigation, Matthew Maciel and City of Clovis, and second is conference with labor negotiators regarding the Clovis Police Officers Association. Anyone like to address any of those items? And Scott, are we anticipating any report out?
We may have action to report out on the first item.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be reporting out if we have anything after our closed session. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We will now adjourn to closed session.